Chamber Decisions Makers Deputati, I have a very important message for you. You are about to pass a vaccine decree that is unconstitutional. It's violating laws and also international conventions. You are politicians and you have to know your laws. I don't know how this could pass in the Senate at the first place. And now you have to stop this because you are not allowed to violating the laws and not allowed to violate international conventions. Those conventions were made just to protect the citizens from the government, never ever to abuse the people. And now you pave the way to doing just that. I have to inform you that when it comes to medical intervention, then it always has to be given with free and informed consent for the citizens. If you have approved any vaccines to be given without the informed and free consent from the parents, then you are violating a lot of laws and international conventions. In Hungary, they have passed a similar vaccine decree, and they have also taken children away from the parents that didn't comply to the vaccine decree. And I wonder if you have discussed that, and if you are about to doing this, you have to know that it also is violating the laws. You can never ever take a child from the parents because they do not want to vaccinate. If you wonder why, it is because every medical intervention has to be with free and informed consent. I want to inform you that according to the laws, you are not allowed to make scientific experimentation on the people. And according to our authorities, the National Board of Health and Welfare in Sweden, they actually admit and saying this: vaccines developed at the beginning or middle of the previous century are usually not evaluated with current requirements for placebo-controlled efficacy tests. This applies, for example, to diphtheria, tetanus, polio, measles, and in the Western world also to the rubella. So if you have accepted any of those vaccines to be mandatory, then it is violating the international conventions, and it is not acceptable that you are experimenting on our children. All medical intervention has to be with free and informed consent. And if you give those shots and it's not voluntarily, then you know that some of those children will be injured. And then you sacrifice those children, and that is not okay. That is not according to our laws. Have you discussed the dangers of vaccinations and adverse effects? Do you know how much harm it does according to the package inserts? Are you aware of all the demonstrations taking place all over Europe and especially in Italy? Those are the parents of vaccine-damaged children, and you want them to vaccinate again? That is violating human rights. That is not caring about the children. You have to care about our children, otherwise we do not want you as politicians. And from what I understand, you can pay a fee or a fine, and then you can be vaccine free. Have you thought about it's only rich people that can pay this? And it can't be discriminating people like this. Only rich people can buy themselves vaccine freedom. It has to be equal. And Rome is the capital of Christianity, and it makes me wonder if you are Christians, because there is nothing Christian about not allow all the children in school. Jesus said, "Let all the children come to me, and not only those who have 36 Glaxo immunizations." You cannot allow money to be the guard when it comes to the health and security of our children. And I also want to tell you that herd immunity doesn't work. The history is full of examples that it doesn't work. And therefore, we cannot force people to vaccinate on this ground. I have another question for you. Have you ever considered, when you vote for this vaccine decree, you also pave the way for other medical interventions like microchipping our kids? And maybe you think that is science fiction, but it's not. In the US, they already discussing that microchipping our kids would be for their own security and safety, because children can get lost just as our pets, and we are microchipping our pets, so then why shouldn't we microchip our kids? As I said, this is no science fiction. In Sweden, you can already microchip yourself to open doors and control your computer. You can also, instead of buying tickets on the train, instead of that, you can have microchip taking care of it. So it's just a matter of time. But when that time's come, will you pass a mandatory microchipping decree for our kids? Because if you let this vaccine decree pass, then it paves the way for also a mandatory microchip decree in the future. If you think you can use the safety and secure of the children to let those laws pass. You have to stop this now, because if you don't, this will be the biggest court case ever in history. You are violating so many laws and so many conventions. I don't know how you can do that. How you dare. You are violating the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. You are violating the Convention on Human Rights and Biomedicine. You are violating the Convention of the Rights of the Child. You are violating the European Charter of Patients' Rights. You are violating the Nuremberg Code. You are violating the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union. And you're violating the Helsinki Declaration. How can you do that? You have to stop this now. My name is Sara Bo, and I'm the president of National Health Federation Sweden, and I thank you for listening.